Hello and welcome back to the KCC channel. I'm Rob and I hope you are having a wonderful day today. Today we're jumping into some malicious compliance. Please check out the KCC Discord linked in the description down below. There you can talk to me and a whole bunch of KCC fans who hang out there on a regular basis. I look forward to seeing you there. Our first story today comes to us from Xenon Chosnek. How I parked wrong, paid my ticket, and yet got my money back thanks to a malicious compliance. Let's jump right in. I posted it elsewhere and I was told you might like it, so here is a story from about a decade ago, when for nearly a year I was exchanging letters and emails with the Glasgow City Council in Scotland. On one summer Sunday afternoon, I was moving to a new flat. There was no parking lines in front of my new building, but loading was allowed. So I left my car there and started to run up and down the stairs with boxes of my belongings. After last heavy box landed on the floor of my new flat, I really needed a drink. So I started to rummage the boxes looking for a glass or a cup. One thing led to another, and when at 2 a.m. I finished unpacking, I went to bed for a well-deserved sleep. My building had 2 entry doors, so it was only Tuesday morning when I used the same doors again and bumped on my car parked right in front of them. Dang, I forgot to move my car after I emptied it of my boxes. Let's hope I didn't get a ticket, I thought. There was nothing on my windscreen, no letter came to me over the next couple of weeks, so I just sighed in relief and forgot about all this. Few months later, a strange letter came. Glasgow City Council informed me that I haven't paid some fine, and that if I don't pay it now, I will have to pay 50% extra. I had no idea what it is about, so truthfully, I answered by asking what is it all about, as I can't recall any unpaid tickets. In the next letter, they have informed me that the ticket is for parking my car on double yellow lines. I answered, again truthfully, that I don't park on double yellow lines. As a former trucker, I am aware how annoying it is for drivers of bigger vehicles. Not to mention that I would like a fire engine to get to my place in case there is a fire. They answered that they have proof. I then politely asked them to show me that proof. In the next letter, there was a picture of my car clearly parked on double yellow lines. I instantly recalled the situation described in paragraph 1 and 2. I've seen no reason to play fool if I was clearly in the wrong, so since there was a copy of the ticket attached to the picture, I've decided to pay the fine instantly. It was written on the ticket that if I pay within 28 days from receiving the ticket, not from the day of its issue, then I only need to pay £30. I wrote a letter apologizing for my behavior, explaining that it was a genuine oversight, but since I was in the wrong, I am to pay a ticket, so I attached a check for £30. The check was cashed, yet some weeks later I've received yet another letter demanding to pay £60. It claimed that since I failed to pay, and it is now more than 3 months, I have now to pay 50% extra. I answered that I paid within 28 days from the moment I saw the ticket for the first time. I got a 50% discount, and that they've already cashed a check, so it's surely some mistake. They answered again that they count this £30 towards the total of $90, so I still have £60 to pay. I answered again that I paid within 28 days from the date the ticket was first delivered to me, so we should be square. I was lectured that if the ticket is put behind the windscreen wiper, it is considered to be delivered properly. I expressed my doubts, pointing out that if it was delivered properly, I would be aware of its existence. I pointed out that a ticket that is placed behind a windscreen of a parked car can be removed by anyone, so this is hardly safe and reliable method of delivering important documents. The answer explained the matter to me in details. The ticket that was placed behind a windscreen wiper of the car registered to me can be considered as a ticket delivered to me, as removing such ticket is an offense, so I can't expect them to act on the basis of assumption that such ticket would be removed. In my answer, I politely thanked for this knowledge, admitting that it is new to me. I also informed them that I've put a check for £60 into an envelope and I placed it behind a windscreen wiper of the bin lorry. This time, it took them longer to respond. Response can be summed up very shortly. WTF? What bin lorry? I was happy to explain. I quoted their previous letter and pointed out since this bin lorry was registered to Glasgow City Council, and putting important documents behind a windscreen wiper of a vehicle belonging to the recipient is considered to be a proper way of delivering them, I consider the check to be delivered properly and hope this will help to bring this matter to its end. Next answer arrived much quicker. It is probably due to this rush that was slightly below the standards expected from the official letter sent to a taxpayer by a city council. To sum it up, the letter stated that one should not place important documents behind the windscreen wiper of a vehicle as it can be easily stolen. There was also some doubt risen about my sanity. I was happy to assure them that I feel perfectly well both on the grounds of my body and my psyche. I reminded them that stealing is a crime, and therefore we should not act on the basis of assumption that someone would steal their check from under the windscreen wiper of the bin lorry. I guess they were no longer amused. The next letter contained plenty of giant red letters and informed me that the matter will now be dealt with by sheriff's officers and messengers in arms. But if I don't like it, I can always appeal to a parking tribunal in Edinburgh. Of course, I did not like it, so I appealed to a parking tribunal in Edinburgh. The parking tribunal in Edinburgh was initially unable to understand the issue. I paid my ticket, I agreed that my car was parked on double yellow lines, and I still want to appeal? I then explained to them that I am not willing to contradict the ticket itself, but I am not happy with the fact that I am charged extra money even despite the fact that I paid a fine within 28 days from receiving a ticket. They finally agreed to consider the case and set a date during one of their sittings in Glasgow, thus sparing me the trouble of traveling to Edinburgh. About a week before set date, I received a letter from Glasgow City Council. It said that my ticket was cancelled. Now, that's a different story. I rushed to write a letter in which I pointed out that if the ticket had to be cancelled, then I assumed it was issued wrongly, and therefore I paid money I should not have paid. I demanded my £30 be returned to me. I never got any more letters regarding this matter, but on one sunny summer Sunday, I logged into my internet banking to discover a payment of £30 from Glasgow City Council. I honestly think if a parking ticket's going to be issued, there should be a follow-up sent to the registered address for the license plate on the vehicle itself. If there's one thing we've learned just by being, out in society, is that there's a bunch of people out there that are dicks and they'll take stuff off your vehicles just to put you through a hard time. So if something like this was done where they sent you a letter, you'd have more chance of knowing you got the ticket and you'd be able to deal with it in a timely manner. Now, I do want to mention though that OP made me laugh out loud when they put their check under the windshield wiper of the bin lorry. That was absolute genius. Do me a quick favor and take a look down below the video. If that subscribe button's still red, it means you're actually not subscribed to the KCC channel. Please hit that subscribe button for more daily Reddit stories. This next story comes to us from SnooPickles1731. Company refuses to pay me overtime. I left job site with job incomplete and client unhappy. Let's jump right in. This happened years ago when I was just starting to wake up to companies abusing employees, and employees taking it because they are just thankful to have a job. I worked as a sales rep for a company in the technology field, two-way radios and alarms to be specific. Said company never had enough technical staff, so I started training myself and asked our lead technician to teach me to program and sort out minor problems as well as do installations, which was nice since I was doing client visits 1 to 4 times a month, depending on how big the client was, and then I could sort out problems while I was on site. I ended up doing most of my clients' installations, and the manager of the technical department was happy because it's less work for him, and he knows I do the jobs properly because I want to keep my clients happy. Accordingly, he had no problem signing my timesheets and overtime hours as well. OT was around 10 to 20 hours a month, so 2 to 5 hours a week, which I think was a great deal considering I was doing the jobs of 2 people actually. It went well for a few months until one day just before payday, I get called in by the MD owner. He had my timesheets for the past few months in front of him. He asked me what they were, and I gave him an explanation. He scratched my OT out, saying sales reps don't get paid OT. I tried to explain to him why I was claiming OT and that he can ask the tech manager, but he was having none of it. I was pissed as it was a little extra money, but whatever. About a week later, I was at a client about 160 kilometers, 100 miles from the office. We had a big installation and it was almost done, except for programming and tidying up some cables. I checked the time and told the apprentice technician to pack up. He was like, "But we're not done with the job." I told him, I don't care, I don't get paid OT. It's 2 p.m. and it's still a 2-hour drive back to the office. We packed up, client comes out, and I gave him an explanation, saying that we will be back the following morning to finish what was effectively 30 to 45 minutes of work. Client wasn't happy, but understands that I don't get paid to work late. I was on the road about 15 minutes when my phone rings. It was the owner, the same one that said I don't get paid OT. He asked what was I doing and why I wasn't finishing the job, as the client was not happy. I told him the explanation above and then said that he said I don't get paid overtime, so I'm not working late and will drive back to finish tomorrow. Silence for about 5 seconds, as I assume he realized I was following his express instructions and there was nothing he could do. He told me to go back and finish the job and we can talk about it later. I told him no, unless he pays me OT. He says he will. I tell him to put it in an email before I will turn back. I could hear him go red in the face. He said he will send it now. I switched on my laptop, connected my dongle. This was still before smartphones and email on our phones. A few minutes later, the email came through. We turned around and finished the job. I got paid my overtime and never again was there a query over my timesheets or hours booked. I was the only rep out of 5 that got paid overtime. Now, OP added an edit underneath this one because there were apparently a lot of questions in the comments, and here is the edit. It says, "Edit for more info. This is blown up to where I can't answer all the questions or reply to all the comments. Thanks for the awards and wholesome replies. If I don't reply to your comment, nothing personal, I will try to reply to as many as I can in between work. I will answer some common questions on here for clarity. 1. This happened in South Africa. The labor board there is not very efficient, especially if it comes to smaller companies. Also, this employer had extensive government contracts and knew a lot of people personally, so even reporting him would not have helped much. And if they do investigate, it's pretty easy to get the investigation squashed with a bribe. 2. My contract stipulated I was not entitled to OT. I negotiated OT with the technical manager as it would be mutually beneficial for both him and me if I did tech work as well, and ultimately the company would save money as well, so he agreed to it without any objections. 3. The OT did not amount to much every month as it was based on basic salary, which was low. Commission made up 3/4 of my take-home pay, excluding allowances, so it wasn't much about money, more about the principle. 4. Other sales reps refused to do tech work as they said that was not why they were appointed. The other guys also were on the wrong side of 40 and in shape, if you can call round a shape. I was in my early 20s and wanted to get ahead, so I did extra to prove myself. 5. The OT that he scratched out did not get paid, at least not to his knowing. I added extra hours over the next 2 months to make up for that, so I did get paid eventually. 6. This happened in 08, so before smartphones and voice recording etc., my work phone was a Nokia that had no internet ability. I could call and text. Don't think it even had a camera. We connected to the internet on our laptops via dongle. It is a device that takes a SIM card, plugs into the USB port, and then connects to the cell network, almost like dial-up internet. It even made a similar sound. My laptop did not even have Wi-Fi. If I wanted to connect at the office, I had to plug in the LAN cable. This story just drives home the fact that if your boss ever tells you, "I'll give you this if you do this," you need to get it in writing. Whether that's an email or an actual piece of paper that says that exact thing on it, you need to get it in writing. That way, they can't go back on it again in the future. Because a lot of bosses would be like, "Oh, I don't remember saying that. You're not getting anything. Nice try." This next story comes to us from Fanatic Cake. Malicious Compliance from Students, a compilation. Let's jump right in. I am an educator and have worked on the area for about 10 years. And every time I read or listen to some of these stories, I end up thinking about something a student has done that fits the sub. But it's super short, so it would not be worth posting. So here are some of the best I have ever dealt with. 1. No running in the library. One day, I was leaving for lunch break and saw some students bolting down into the library as fast as they could. Seeing that, I shouted, "Hey you guys, you know you're not allowed to run in the library," which causes them to stop, look at me, and start hopping. Because I only told them they're not allowed to run. But who said anything about hopping? This is one of the times in my career in which I just take the L and move on. 2. You should ask John if you're allowed to do it. After lunch, students have a small recess and may go play, as long as a teacher is around. But we always have the issue of students just seeing somewhere empty, like the soccer field or one of the courts, and start playing there. To try and avoid this, we established that students might go anywhere their teachers allow them to do it. But a group of students, trying to be smart, asked if I could allow them to go to the soccer field, which I couldn't. I was covering somewhere else. I just tell them, you should ask John, he should be here soon enough. They called for John and ran a bit, so I just think that was good timing from the teacher, but no, I see them asking a student called John if they could go, which he promptly said, yes, you are all allowed, my dear students. The worst part is that I couldn't laugh, because smart as that was, I had to make them follow the rules. 3. You cannot use your pencil cases for this activity. I think most of you know where this may go, but I think it's funny. We do not allow the students to use their pencil cases for some activities. Since we have our own classroom material, and pencil cases can be super distracting when students start showing off their brand new sparkly pen that smells like angel hair. Thing is, we didn't account for the incredible ability from students to find loopholes. I kid you not, I watched as they started passing around pencil cases because we never said anything about using our colleagues' pencil cases, which, fair enough. But come on, help a teacher out here. 4. You need to get a book that has paragraphs. To help with their reading, we gave students the task to get a book and read it until the end, updating a reading journal once a week. Thing is, students tend to get super lazy with it and try to just go for a book like Diary of a Wimpy Kid or Captain Underpants, so we established that it needs to be a book with paragraphs, aka something like a shorter novel. One of the students got a cooking book, and when we tried to stop him, he opened the book to one of the instructions for a recipe and said, with the most innocent voice, "See? Paragraphs." 5. You need to sit with your classmates. This might be my favorite. Since we came back full-time after kids got vaccinated, the school has been demanding some really weird rules and is super inconsistent. And one of those is that in the cafeteria, they are only allowed to sit with their classmates, which can be more safe. But at the same time, we have 100 plus students there at a time. So what's the difference? I was even trying to justify it to them, but they noticed I didn't believe in it myself, so they found a loophole, because that's what 5th graders do, and just pushed the tables together. Each table had a different ground, so they didn't break any rules, while still being able to be with their friends. I'm drawing a blank here, so if I remember any new stuff and this is liked enough, I might ask my colleagues for more stories. I love my students and love being a teacher. Kids can be truly great at malicious compliance. I mean, in a case like this, it's not always a bad thing. It means they're honing their critical thinking skills, no matter how frustrating it is for the teachers or other adults. Check out all 3 OPs linked in the description down below. I thank you for watching. I hope you have a wonderful day, and we'll see you tomorrow.